Mandy here at Matuska Taxidermy Supply Company, and I am with Tom Matuska and Brett Wingfield. And today's live video, Thursday, 4:30 Central, is antler mounts. So we're going to talk about antler mounts and European mounts and any questions. Feel free to comment any questions you have about these different products you want to hear us talk about, and we will answer all your questions the best that these guys can. And stay tuned for the end because we're going to be doing some giveaways and some sales and just fun things going on. We survived our 3-show weekend here, so it's nice to get back in our line.
Yeah.
All right.
Hi, everybody. We, like Mandy said, we just got back. First, we had the Wisconsin show, and that's always a really, really big one for us, and it's an excellent, excellent show. They do a great job taking care of the vendors and the competitors, and it's really a good show. And then it was to South Dakota, and they had a really nice show. That organization's growing, and quality is way, way up. And then we split, and Mandy's crew went to the Iowa Taxidermy show, and Vicki and I went to Minnesota, and both of those places put on a really, really nice show, and the quality was as good as it gets anywhere. So this is our show season, so you'll see us at the show. So if you want to visit about any of the products that we show you in our live feeds, be sure to come up to me at the shows or anybody that's manning the booth, and we'll let you see these products firsthand. Today is antler mounts and kind of antler trophies. When I first got started, and many of you grasp for any kind of taxidermy work that you can get. Usually this business isn't like starting a grocery store where you hang up a sign and people are coming in getting milk and bread the first day. You try to build your business, and a lot of times antler mounts is what the taxidermist is first exposed to. And I was always disappointed with when somebody would decide to have an antler mount done rather than a full shoulder, because of course you want to do the full shoulder, and to begin with I didn't charge enough for the antler mounts, so they were more of a nuisance than anything else. We get so many antler mounts in that you kind of need to raise your prices, so hour for hour you're kind of getting the same kind of money that you would for a full shoulder mount for the time spent and the materials invested, and that makes your antler mounts much more fun to do. This is a typical antler mount that if a customer comes in, just wants a basic antler mount. This is on a oak Walnut Creek panel. It's a laser engraved panel. We carry both panels from Walnut Creek and Walnut Hollow, both great hardwood companies. This is a leather covered panel. We have leather comes in several colors. It's got a little braid around it, and this is our basic antler mount if a customer comes in, to get something like that. And I'll give you a little idea of how we do these. To start with, inside of every antler mount is a form, just like your whitetail forms, your elk forms, your caribou forms, something like this. They come in different shapes and sizes. This is a Gary Zahner. It's got a little dished out hollow for your antlers to lay in. This is I think it's a skull-shaped antler oval. And here's another style. We have different styles, small, medium, large. We have a moose, we have an elk, different sizes and different shapes depending on what kind of animal you're doing the antler mount of. The first thing that I like to do is, fall off my chair, first thing I like to do is trim the bone to either fit onto this, for instance, or in the case of the Gary Zahners, it nestles down inside of the little dished in area, and there's a lot less to repair around here to make a nice smooth flow to your antler oval. I drilled a couple holes, and 2 holes will hold it. I situate it onto here. I usually will take something like a 3-inch screw, and I will screw all the way through the back. There's a 1/2-inch plywood panel in the back. I screw all the way through that panel, and when it's nice and tight, everything's straight, I'll just take a vice grips and bust those screws off the back. They'll bust off really nice and flush.
Those are just drywall screws?
Yeah, drywall screws work good, or we use torque head screws a lot, but they're brittle enough that they snap off. Usually you don't have to do much to them. Maybe we hit them on the sander sometimes if they stick off the back. Then, with my customer, I will decide, we do a lot of leather, and I started doing leather when I first started doing antler mounts. Comes in a lot of different colors. Leather, to me, I always sold my antler mounts as my competitors were cutting panels out of plywood. I was trying to sell my product as hardwood, you know, better product, quality product. And when people were using felt on their antler ovals, I was using leather. So I tried to make it an upper class type of a thing. But usually I'll have some in the showroom where customers can look at the different color combinations. This is not entirely what color this is. Fawn color. You can use either the suede side or the smooth side. We've got chocolates, we've got browns, we've got creams, all different kinds of color. Usually around the antlers, you can, the antler burrs, you can use a little trim, you know, in case you don't cut this, and it's a little, adds a little bit, and by altering the colors of the trim and the leather color, it looks real nice, and you can custom design it for your customers. When I put those together, usually you're going to have a little bit of a gap where your bone meets the styrofoam, and that needs to be filled with something. Mache, we use our premium mache and mix it up with water and just fill in the gap between the bone and the form, and with a little trowel make it nice and smooth. As it starts to set up, dip your fingers in water and you can smooth it out. So this is all really nice and smooth and it all conforms together. Then, if you stretch leather over anything, if there's a grain of sand under there, it will telegraph through the leather. So I like to have a cushion between my leather and the form. So I use polyester batting, you know, something like this. And I will shape that around my oval, cutting around the antler burrs, little circles around the antler burrs, wrap it all the way around, staple it on the back. Then I cut my leather in a similar shape. This one I started, I have a little antler burr cutouts here. I don't know if you can see that. And those will get wrapped around. I'm not actually doing one, so you're going to have to use your imagination a little bit. I'll hold that right like that. So I'd have my white polyester batting, which is going to take up any imperfections. I will take my leather, wrap it around, trim. You'll have to trim around your burrs as neatly as you can. You want it nice and tight, but also I rely on my braided trim to get to cover that little gap and to actually add a little color to it. Once I got it situated on there, I'll usually staple it in the front, pull it tight, staple it in the back, and with the scissors I'll trim around my burrs, trim them all the way around, and then staple it all the way around. When I'm done, I should have something like this.
Bring that a little closer. So did you use two different, for the braid, usually you flip it, but you use two different
The braid
colors.
is smooth, a brown shade, maybe not a saddle, but a brown shade. This I use the smooth leather.
Right, because sometimes you switch to the suede side to get the braid and it gives it that off.
Sometimes I'll use, yeah, if I use a shiny here, I might use the suede side. Suede side is nothing more than the back side of the leather. It's a completely different color. So that's kind of how we do our antler mounts. Now, you don't need to use leather. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was going to ask you much on the back.
Oh,
Just touch everything.
here's what it looks like. Do a close-up of the back, how I staple it around there. I'll staple it, pull it tight down there, one staple there, one staple it there, and then I just pulling it tight, taking the stretch out of the leather. And then on the sides, you're going to have a seam, so I situate that seam behind the antler burr, the main beam. And sometimes people want color. We have used colored leather, and the reason we use leather is because leather is very stretchy and it's very easy to cover without wrinkles. Velvet makes a really attractive center mound, and it comes in a lot of different colors. Velvet is a nightmare to cover without getting wrinkles, but they make stretchable velvet, and it's really nice, almost like elastic velvet. It's awesome to work with. But so if you wanted a color, you can go to Walmart or Hobby Lobby or a fabric store and get velvet also. Once I
Matuska Taxidermy as soon as we carry it.
once I have this done, then it's a matter of whatever my customer picked out. We have all kinds of, like I said, Walnut Creek and Walnut Hollow panels. This is a Walnut Hollow arrowwood panel.
We have it in oak and walnut.
And I will situate it on here. I usually will make one hole for a screw hole. I'll probably put 2 holes in, but I only screw on one. Then I hang this on the wall and get everything straight. Then I run my second screw. That way you can always get it real nice and straight. But you can get these panels in all kinds of different configurations. Any color leather, any color braid around here. Just have a few samples in your showroom, and you'll get very fast at these. You can do an antler mount in an hour with a little bit of practice.
John Bellucci says dampen the leather on the underside and allows the leather to stretch real nice and tight.
Sure. Good tip. What else do we have?
So that's the antler mount.
We've got some laser engraved panels too, don't we?
We do, yes, this is laser engraved too.
That's our kit. So we actually sell that as a kit behind you in that box. We sell the kit in original and a deluxe. The deluxe is the engraved.
And what comes with the kit?
Oh man, everything you need. So if you're just a hunter and you have sheds laying around, if you're just a hunter and have sheds laying around, it comes with your oval, your polyester batting, your leather, your braid, your plaque, your hanger, your screws, full instructions.
But not for sheds.
What?
Not for sheds.
What?
We got to show them something else to do sheds.
Oh, right. But yeah.
Do you have antlers laying around?
Oh, okay. I'm still. But anyway.
We'll cover sheds.
Okay.
I got a question here.
What is it?
What is the best way to line up the rack on the panel?
I think, for me, I think that's what I kind of described. Figure out close to where your panel's going. Is that what they mean, I think? And then drill 2 holes that are going to be covered by this. Put 1 screw in. I also put the hanger in. Then I walk across the room. I can tell straightness at 20 feet better than I can close up. I line something like this. I'll line the tip of the panel. If there's a tip up here and the tip down here, I'll get those really nice and level with a vertical line on the wall. And I will put 1 screw in and adjust it straight. Once it's straight, I will carefully take it down and zip in another screw.
What else you got?
What else you got?
We better cover sheds. Mandy, open the door.
Yeah.
I apparently need more schooling. There they are. Those are Eddies.
No.
They are?
Yeah, they probably are. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a deer that Mandy raised,
And Brent,
and Brent.
our baby, and Val.
And these were 4th, 5th year sheds?
He would have been
Yeah, probably.
5.
Yeah.
Maybe.
What we did there?
There's a lot of different ways to do sheds. If you're doing sheds for an antler mount, it's similar to doing it for us. It's similar to doing it for a head mount. But you don't have the bone to connect, you don't have the skull plate, so you can do a couple different things. We have these artificial, top of the skull and pedicles, and we like to take a spade bit and drill a hole down through here, larger than when you get those, they're going to come with a square stock. Some people use threaded rod. Threaded rod works really well. So I would drill a spade bit hole down in here, big enough, probably 5/8, something pretty big diameter. So this wobbles around. Then we drill a hole up in the antlers. Now this one already has it in there. And I like to go up quite a ways. Go up, inch to 2, doesn't hurt. And then I will hold that up here at an angle to make sure I have a lot of wiggle room. I will fill this with auto body putty, stick this up in the shed, so I'd have something like this, except this one's not glued in yet. I would auto body putty that one down in there. Now it's not attached to the antler yet. The antler will still slide off, leaving the rod glued down into the skull plate. I do the same on the other side. I'm still not glued into the antlers. I'm going to have a little wiggle room. If we're doing this for an antler mount, I would trim this to fit down into here, or to fit on my large oval like that. You might have to cut off a little bit of the front, a little bit of the back. I like if that rod will go down through the plywood too. It makes it nice and strong. Then it's helpful to have some help, and I would do just one at a time. Only do one. Auto body putty up in here, stick it down on, hold it while somebody stands back and tells you how straight you are. If that's good, do the other one. And with auto body putty, you probably got 20 minutes to a half hour. If something went wrong, you can twist it out, rebore your hole, and do it again. 5-minute epoxy works real well too, but it's set so slow and it hardens kind of gradually. It takes forever to hold it. Auto body putty's a lot faster. That's how I would do these. That's how I would do it on a deer head too. If we have a deer and we have sheds, I would screw this onto the top of the mannequin, drill my hole down through here, down through the bottom, through the wood plate on the mannequin, and then I would put either my rods down in here or my rods into the antlers, and then auto body putty those down on too. You want something really, really strong that won't break. This is, I don't know, it's more than a quarter. 3/8 inch, probably 3/8 inch steel rod, something that won't bend. Ready rod looks good also.
And then if they wanted to make it removable, this would have to be really straight through here.
Yeah, we have a bend here. That won't work for removable, so it would have to be straight.
But then they can do basically everything just the same, wax the rod.
We wax the rod, so you can either, it doesn't matter, there's not a right or wrong. You can either have your rod stick with the antler and pull off of the head, or you can leave the rod in the head and the antler pulls off. You know, there's not a right or wrong, I don't think. But you would have an extension of the rod sticking down. We're going to wax it with paste wax. Johnson & Johnson's paste wax works real good. Get it at the hardware store. And anytime you wax something, put it on, let it dry really good, and buff it off. It's going to take 10-15 minutes per coat. I'd put on 5-6 coats. Then fill your cavity in here with auto body putty, stick it down in, get some help holding it so it's nice and straight. Once it's straight and everything's hardening up, this should slip right off. We've had it where it doesn't, but typically it will. Don't forget to wax it. You definitely want to wax it.
And make sure your rod's straight. Make sure you don't have any bends behind it. Same thing for an elk?
Yeah, for an elk, we'd use a lot bigger. You know, like maybe 1/2 inch, 5/8 inch.
Which we sell all those in pairs.
We sell them in pairs, yes we do. And we also have those pedestal attachment rods. We've used those for moose. They've got the aluminum sleeves with the epoxy center that fit really nice and tight. You just, whatever you're doing, you don't want anything to be going like that and wiggling.
Douglas Winkle says, I like the wine bottle holder.
Nice.
And we're going to get to that too. We got lots of fun stuff.
We got a long ways to go. We're 20 minutes into this.
We are?
What else do we have? Let's show them some of these skulls maybe.
Yeah. Should we go? So now we've done the antlers in the sheds.
Quinn has the phone.
Uh-oh.
Angry faces are coming up.
Are you sure, sir?
Well,
Maybe it's Brent because
it might be Brent.
supper's not ready.
Those are Brent. These are sages. 2
Another
years
one
ago.
of Mandy's pet deer.
Yeah.
This is a pinchback skull, am I correct? reproduction skull. Now, all the time we have people with sheds, or for instance, we have a set of antlers downstairs that the person cut the
Yeah, you need to scoot.
oops, I'm sorry, scoot this way.
Covered by the catalogs a little bit.
And he cut the skull off, and then he wanted a European mount. So,
Are you talking about me?
no,
Oh.
different you.
Oh.
No, so anyway, we have to come up with something. You can buy these. This is a counterfeit skull. The counterfeit skulls actually have the molars on them, and they look just like the real skull.
The detail is very good on those.
It's exceptional,
Those
exceptional.
are pinchback skulls, and they come convertible and pedicle.
And this would be convertible.
And a convertible would be for if you have this much of the skull plate, you can actually trim it to fit down in here so that you don't have to, cut the burrs off. Now sometimes people will bring in sheds, so then you will want the whole, the full skull.
So Shirley said, what would you use on an antler mount where the skull plate is broken?
It depends on how big the deer is. I've done all kinds of things. I've put rods, I've drilled holes in the right side and the left side of the skull, and I've epoxied rods through here. If it's not a very big one, a couple screws here and a couple screws there set in a bed of Bondo, auto body putty, or epoxy will work. Big ones I'd probably try to put rods in.
Yeah, you can take a lot of times they'll break right along this fissure.
Mhm.
Put a little super glue in that break, put them together where you like them, hit it with accelerator, and then set them in fiberglass or Bondo or something for reinforcement, but that super glue will act as a second set of hands for you.
Another thing we've done, hand me that once. Another thing we've done, if these are broken, they're really, really thin, is we will take, drill a hole with a spade bit from underneath the skull plate up into the main beam on both sides, and then bend a ready rod or a square stock so they come down parallel. So you have two heavy steel bars coming down parallel. Then drill holes in this so that the rods will glue down in also. That works good on a head too. I will go right down into the top of the head. To do this, we did it just like we were talking about, like that. Rod goes up in the antlers. It goes down into the pedicle here. Goes down as far as we could get it. Auto-bodied into here. Auto-bodied into here. And that is a...
Our beautiful catalogs are covering your face.
Oh, my beautiful face.
No.
Catalogs are covering my beautiful face, you know.
We just got a bunch of hearts on that.
It's because I showed
You
up.
got both.
Now, with something like this, how are we going to adorn this? Are we just going to set it on the table, lay it on the floor, or what do we got to show this off?
We got all kinds of stuff to do with that. You can go with the traditional panel, correct? There's a walnut hollow or walnut creek panel available for all of your European skulls.
Yeah?
Similar to this guy.
This is a Walnut Creek panel.
These are kind of cool panels because
Excuse me.
they pivot in two places, right? They can act as a tabletop
They
version.
can set on a floor like this.
Or we can spin them around. Oops. One too tight. Go this way.
And they'll sit on a wall and hold them out at you so the antlers aren't pointing way forward.
Like that, and I'll show you on the side like this. That work? Are we too high?
No, you're
No,
good.
you're good.
Okay.
You're good. Larry Wiggins says, what's the giveaway? Don't know why I asked. I can't give my catalog I ordered. Larry, it is coming. They just did a bulk. We have to wait till we get to a certain number, unfortunately. But there's a bulk going out. I believe it went out yesterday.
Yes.
It went out yesterday, so you should be seeing it. But in the meantime, if you don't have patience, we do have an amazing high-res flip book on our website. So you can go check out the catalog and totally flip through like it's right on the screen. So check that out, but you should have one coming.
On the way.
Sure.
On the way.
Okay, how much are these things? These things are really nice. How much are they?
The pin.
Rough.
So
that the trivia
Walnut
question?
Creek's, that one you're looking at right there comes in oak and walnut. And
That's a $30-some item, isn't it?
for sure. That's $38.95.
Okay, I've got a cheap customer. What do you got for cheap customers?
Oh man.
Thrifty.
Nothing. Don't do cheap. We got.
Sure.
Am I right?
Skull
There's
hookers?
like an Easter egg hunt up here. There's all kinds of stuff. We've got the skull hooker hanger.
Now those actually pivot. The skull hookers go in the spinal cavity, and there's a little forked affair that holds them, and they can actually pivot on the wall.
And that is a wall version. There's also a table version. Oh. Nope, this is
Skull
like an
hooker?
elk version.
Sure.
This would be a large elk version.
And they do make a table version.
So I don't see it up here. But there is a table version.
And there's a bone bracket. And you have small and large skull hookers in black or brown. Same with the table hookers are black or brown.
Okay.
And then we've got the simple walnut hollow European skull mounting kit.
Holds it away from the wall at a really nice angle.
Again, using the brain cavity.
Sure. And then can you open that little guy for me? This is a sportsman's trophy hanger. And this is probably we give these with our antler mounts for people to display them.
And it works really well.
With a staple.
And the staple causes a little bit.
Now this is actually, it used to be one of our heavy duty hangers welded onto a steel rod with a little rubber tubing on it. Goes up into the
Can you turn around?
cavity this way. Goes up in here. Gravity holds it. You put it on the wall and it holds your skull at a real attractive position to show off the antlers.
Now, before we go, I think there are some other versions, but what if we had the real skull? What would we do with the real skull? We've got artificial
Oh, for
covered.
cooking, for cleaning them up?
Yep.
All right, there you go. You gotta
Spell
tell me
it
where
out.
you're going with this stuff.
Talk slowly and spell it out.
Put it in simple terms so I'll understand.
Let's talk about skull cleaning.
Okay, European mounts. You know, we talked about the artificials, but everybody does European mount. They're very, very, very popular. We will get in a deer head. Customer wants a European mount. We skin them out. It works the best if you can clean as much meat, residue, fat, everything from your bone that you can. Spend 20 minutes cleaning up that bone, and you're going to speed up your time and do less damage to it when you cook them. We have a turkey cooker, and we'll fill it up with water. We'll put in sal soda. Sal soda is sodium carbonate, and it will turn your meat to gelatin, and it will cut your cooking time to half. It's a white powder. Don't get it mixed up with sodium bicarbonate. This is sodium carbonate. Sodium bicarbonate is baking soda. And this will turn your meat to gelatin, comes off, cleans them up really fast. Don't do the roiling boil on your skull. It can do damage. A hard simmer is a little bit better. People that do skull work and skeletons, they will simmer bone for a long time to get the meat off without doing any damage. But we'll put it in there. I like to put a little Liposol 77 in the water because that is an excellent degreaser.
That's a true bond product.
Yep. A great degreaser. And put a little of that in your water along with your sal soda and get a nice hot simmer going. Stick your skull in. You're going to have to watch. I try to keep my burrs out of the water as good as I can. Take it out after about a half an hour and see how the meat acts. Does it come off really easy or is it still clinging on really good? You want it to come off real easy. Scrape off what you can. We like to use a pressure washer.
Pressure washer works really well.
Yep. Just a cheap pressure washer from Menards or Lowe's. One of the, I don't know, 1500 psi. They're not a super industrial type thing, but it will blow that meat off and clean right up amongst the teeth and the palate and everything like that. Clean them off as good as you can. If we're boiling a lot of skulls, we change our water really, really often because brain matter is very oily, and you'll notice that if you do European mounts, sometimes you will get stained areas up on the forehead. We like to take the brains out before we cook them. We take a wire and we get that out because it's like cooking with a whole bunch of lard in the water. You want to get the brain out first. Sorry, I had to say that. But then you change the water often, especially on a bear. You know, a bear is a really fatty, tissue. Change your water often. You're going to have the cleanest, nicest, whitest bone when it comes out.
Change your water often, because that's a lot of people have issues with it yellowing and they can't get it white.
Yeah, I would say for a deer skull, I would change it twice. For a bear skull, I might even change it 3 times.
For one skull?
I'll put 2 or 3 in maybe if I got them, but don't cook several skulls in your water, or you're actually, that grease all turns super liquid and it permeates the bone and stains everything.
What are the pros and cons to having the flesh-eating beetles over boiling?
Beetles are great. They do a lot of people have, if you have beetles or have access to beetles, they work good.
Is it the same kind of time, or what are you looking at for that?
They take days to clean off the bone, but they do a very good job. They're a little bit dangerous to have anywhere around a taxidermy studio, so if you have beetles, keep them clear of your showroom. You know, that can be a disaster because when they run out of this to eat, they're going to be looking for something else.
Jennifer Shelton says she has a friend that has them, so she wouldn't have to maintain them. So that would be perfect, Jennifer.
Sure,
take advantage.
Take them there.
Take advantage.
And we have people bring in skulls that they found or skulls that were laying in the barn that they shot a long time ago or something. And I've had them bring them into the shop on the floor, and out crawls the beetles. I mean, the first thing I do is grab the raid and douse the whole skull with raid because they can get in your showroom from bringing in bad stuff like that too. So be careful. They do eat, and when they're done with this, they're going to look for something else.
Joe Simmons says that his beetles in full strength will clean a deer skull in a day.
Yeah.
Hungry
Yeah.
beetles.
And they do a pretty good job. They do a real good job. A lot of people don't. If you're into beetles, I think you have to maintain them. You have to take care of them. They're
I think
like
they have a life cycle of like 40 days.
They're like a hungry pet, you know. So it's not like you just got a box, you throw them in. You got to take care of your little critters too. What else do we have for skulls here? Artificial skulls.
Well, now we've got them boiled and clean.
Oops, we never
Probably
finished.
wanna make them white.
Sorry, jumping ahead here.
Interrupted.
Bleaching.
Peroxide. Right. Someone said peroxide, not bleach.
We use basic white antler bleaching kit, and it is a 40 volume developer, hydrogen peroxide, mixed with a Claro product, and it turns into a paste. We paint that onto our skulls, and I usually let it dry overnight, and it will fall off. Put it on like shaving cream, mix these two together, comes in a kit, put it onto your skull, let it sit overnight, keep it away from your mounts because this is a strong whitening bleach. We use it on goats, we use it on sheep, we use it on skulls, anything you want white, so make sure it doesn't get around, you know, your black bear. Or your
And
clothes.
we also carry those in the 2 kits behind you in 3 different versions. That's the small that could do
Skull
a
cleaning kit.
couple skulls, and then the one on the right is it comes with your sal soda, your basic white, your peroxide,
Everything you need to start the
everything,
cooking
your
product.
hanger,
Yep.
everything you need to do your own skull. And then we sell a deluxe version that includes the panel, the Walnut Creek panel.
Mix it up like shaving cream. Once you have it whipped up, it works best to put it on a wet skull, a damp skull. Don't dry your skull for days before you put it on. It's something about the capillary action, wicks the whitening chemicals into the bone, and they whiten very, very nice. Once they're white, we rinse off the powder residue, dry them really good, and then we like to coat them with something. And for years I've used thin down Antler glue. It doesn't yellow, stays nice and white, gives them a low luster, works really, really well.
That was one of the questions, do you gloss after? So you do the Elmer's glue and water thin down.
Some people gloss their skulls. We typically don't gloss them, but we paint them with a little Elmer's glue and water. Antlers, a lot of times we will take our antlers, and if it's on a skull or on a mount, we use liquid gold. Liquid gold over there, bring in matte too. But be careful, this is an oil product, and if liquid gold gets on your leather antler mount, it will discolor it. So I keep this away from my leather, but it works really good on European mounts and full shoulder mounts. If it's for something with leather, we use our matte finish, or any of these works good with the matte finish. It gives them a really nice luster without looking fake shiny.
No liquid gold on your horns.
Oh, horned animals, good point, good point. Antelope and sheep have a distinctive color that sportsmen are used to and are accustomed to. Oil on horns will turn them unnaturally dark.
Jennifer wants to know if using the beetles, does she still need to soak the skull in water before bleaching paste?
I would, and the reason is because it turns them much whiter. A dry skull does not whiten near as much as a damp skull. You'll notice a difference.
Yeah, seems like it penetrates better, gets into the bone further on a damp skull.
What else you got?
Cool.
Now what else we got?
Well, now we kind of get kind of artsy with this stuff, don't we?
Look at some of them skulls.
Yeah. So if we go away from, we've done the white skull, and now your customer has 6 of those in his house, and you've got 14 in your showroom, but you want something different. Here are some options. These are new. Mandy,
They are
help
new.
me.
Help me.
Bronze
Help.
and
Snow camo.
And those are the detailed with the teeth.
Yeah. We've got a really cool one. This was a hot item at the shows. What do we call this one?
The amendments.
Amendment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The veterans kind of scarf those up.
Yes.
Pretty partial.
Yes,
to them.
they're very cool. I like the bronze one. So,
Bronze one's very cool.
and then we also have our wolf hydro-coated ones, which are those, and those come in 5 different colors, and that's the maple you're looking at,
Now, if you notice, these are flat,
which is a
They
less
can
expensive version than the
conform really, really nice to a panel.
Show it on that panel. There you go.
And then a couple screws will hold it right in there. Or on this one, we had it in the showroom, we just had a hanger on the back. Either way. We treated this the same way as we did, explained easier. There's a steel rod going up here, steel rod going down into the urethane head.
To make us some room here, we got a lot of stuff.
And we're not done.
And
So for those just tuning in, we're live every Thursday at 4:30 Central Time. You can tune in. If you missed the video, no worries. You can go to our Facebook page. Make sure you're liking and following so you get notified when we're live. But you can watch all the videos that we've done and talked about for all the tips and tricks. So stay tuned. Text it or comment any questions that you have, and we'll answer them along the way. Or products you want to hear us talk about.
Okay, now
bring up some fun stuff.
you have your choice. Your customers can have boring old antler mount, which we've done for 40 years, or you can get really creative. There's just some fun products on the market now.
I'd almost get this into the category of antler art, wouldn't you?
Sure.
If you start incorporating habitat and different features, we can take that skull and by using a piece of driftwood or the artificial driftwood, you can actually make a pretty cool panel out of this. I can steal this stuff from it.
Oh, what do you want?
How about just double down there?
I forget how big he was.
He's big.
He was
big.
This would be another option. And we've got a piece of artificial driftwood with some rocks included on it. Simply attaching something like this.
I like that. I can do that in my basement.
Dress that up
And
with a
yeah.
little bit of habitat. Some old vine that kind of comes through.
Little barbed wire, little leaves,
Yep.
little vine. Your imagination is the only thing that's going to limit you on.
So that's our artificial driftwood rock combo that we sell separately in 2 different colors. And then you're grabbing the branch with moss,
Yep.
and you cut that up and you can use it over.
Yeah, little pieces, multiple positions, all kinds
Here,
of
hold that up there
places.
again. Look at. So, you can add this,
Yeah.
or you can add that.
I choose the right.
You know, you can have this at $125, $45, $55. That for $3.99, and I think people are going to jump at that.
Yep. You know, and that's another good point, Tom. We're always looking for different ways to do add-on sales in the taxidermy business, trying to add to the income, add to a little bit of that weekly
Yeah.
paycheck. And some habitat is really simple, easy to add. These are pieces we're familiar
Use this
with and
one
use
too.
every day in the shop, and we're just going to add them to another area of our business.
See, originally made that for, fish. It was for a fish mount on the wall, and, it works good for little animals or birds flying or antlers, European mounts.
One more opportunity is right here.
Yeah.
Put it right here on the tabletop version. So,
So big.
Tom, you
cool.
keep hiding behind those catalogs.
I was hiding on purpose. On purpose, I'm hiding.
There've been all kinds of creative ways to do stuff. You see it online all the time. We've seen antler chandeliers forever. Lamps and chandeliers, another version of that.
The tree? The Christmas tree?
The Christmas
Oh,
tree.
Brian Olson's
Yep.
Christmas tree.
Yep. Those are super
that was
cool.
Was it Michelle did it or she had Brian do it?
Brian did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was neat.
Okay, show him this. This is
Another
creative.
Don't break my wine bottle. That's a special one.
But another just option for you to think about, and for your customer or your customer's wives or some of the gifts that go along with it. Hunters have sheds in their showroom or in their trophy rooms all the time. It seems like shed hunting is becoming more and more popular. And how would you do something with them?
What do you do with them?
Yeah, exactly. They lay around the floor. This is a kind of cool opportunity to add some functionality to it. We put this together. This little driftwood bronzy sculpture started out just as a piece of foam.
Everybody likes this.
So it started out just as a piece of urethane foam, carved it, put some Bondo over the surface, painted it, positioned the antlers with it. There's a little rock in the back to help support it, but every antler is different, so you're going to have a different configuration for every one, but this nice little pedestal base works with about any antler you can put. Doesn't take up too much room and adds a little bit to the hunter's living room or trophy room.
And when you're doing stuff like this,
Jennifer wants to see the wine bottle, not the rack.
when you're doing something like this, you're not going to do anything wrong. You might do something that you don't find aesthetically pleasing, but this can always be reshaped. If you got that all done, you say, man, I wish I'd have done this or that. This is foam and Bondo underneath here. You can cut it apart and reshape it and reposition the antlers. It's not a done deal until you're happy with it. So there's a lot of a lot of creativity in you, that all of you, that you haven't tapped yet, but you just kind of need somebody to show you an idea and stimulate your...
Even that, or your customers coming in saying, this is what I got, can you work with it?
Yeah.
Yep. All kinds of different orders. You can do 3 antlers, you could do 4, you could build a floor pedestal rather than a table pedestal for 2 antlers. Lots of stuff. The opportunities are endless, and as we try to get more and more creative, make a little bit of money in the shop, everybody encounters downtime now and then, maybe, unless you're super busy.
Yeah.
But it's something that can definitely fill time and add some value.
And if you have some of these different things in your showroom, you know, customers want to see that stuff. You can explain it to them, but it's not the same as seeing something like this, or seeing a wall mount like that, you know, or seeing something like this. Once they see it, they go, oh man, that's really cool. Then they go home and think about it.
That's like our artificial driftwood. They're getting it for their showroom just because.
Yeah. Just to be able to
So
show
their
people.
customers can show them because it's so easy to work with.
Yeah.
They want to know how you attached your sheds to that.
These were actually reproductions, so I had just simply drilled a hole in the backside of them. I've got a couple pieces of plywood that's inside this piece of Bondo, strategically placed, so it was really simple. If this was a real piece of wood, I'd still drill through. And then one thing we haven't gotten to, and we're running out of time, is how do you repair antlers? And I just filled that spot with Fix-It Sculpt. We may have a whole hour dedicated to antler repairs at another time, but yeah, repair and coloration is something that we could cover too. But that's all I did, was just screw through them and then cover it with Fix-It Sculpt. Are you giving anything away today?
Yeah, we can totally give something away. What did you decide on?
Do you have more questions, or are you done with them?
Those are all the questions
Okay,
from
good.
everybody watching.
I feel like we need some likes first.
Oh yeah, definitely. Likes and hearts for the giveaway. Drum roll, please. No. Give us some likes and some hearts. Let us know what you think about the video. We love positive feedback. Negative, you can just not say anything.
Hey,
we
wait a
heard
minute.
at the shows. It's all we hear about. You know, people like these and different ideas we should come up with.
Rob, the bronze skull is not in the catalog, but it is online. So for those of you that see a lot of our new stuff, you can go online and there's a place that says what's new, and it'll show everything that we come out with, because the catalog goes out once a year and we can't add anything to it so it always is online. If we get something and we start carrying it, it's online and what's new, and it'll be in 2019 catalog. But on that, are you giving away a skull hooker?
We are giving away. What is it? This little skull hooker?
Yep. So a skull hooker, and you can have your choice of brown or black. And it's a little skull hooker which will fit a deer. Here you go. Good looking one. We're gonna have a question, but what I'm gonna have everybody do is in the comments tag a friend that needs to learn antler mounts, and then along with the answer to our question. And our question is, how many different color variations of the hydro-coated skulls do we carry? How many color variations? So while Kirsten's looking for the answer of that, and you guys are tagging your friends,
How many
liking
different color variations of these?
of the skulls, of our hydro-coated skulls, how many color variations? In the meantime, while you guys are tagging friends and commenting, this is our catalog for those that don't have one. I hope you get yours soon. But call us. You can call us 1-800-488-3256 or visit online at www.matuskataxidermy.com. We'll help walk you through anything, and if you need help picking stuff out, we're available. We are doing, as kind of a thank you to all our customers, Facebook's been huge for us, and everybody is really great at tagging us, liking us, sharing our stuff, commenting when they use our products. So what we're going to do is kind of a thank you. We're doing a $500
$500?
$500 supply giveaway. So you have a chance to win, but all you have to do is, I think it's going for 2 months. So 2 months, whoever has the most shares of our stuff, Matuska tags, so hashtag and tag us in it, and we're gonna pick a winner. So that's kind of exciting. So as soon as you get done with this video, if you share it, you get a point. And whoever has the most points. If you get a box from us and you take a picture and tag us in your Facebook, you get a point. If you share maybe a flyer that Kirsten just did a beautiful turkey flyer on Facebook, if you share that, you get a point. So it's kind of fun.
Keep guessing. Keep guessing, guys.
While they're guessing, what's the next show we're going to be at?
Western Regional.
Western Regionals.
Ooh, that's coming up.
And we're actually going to set up 3 booths there. So we're shipping stuff to Western Regional.
You people, Western people are going to have some tremendous sagebrush mule deer down there, antelope for you, some really
rock
nice,
bases,
nice
we're sending
rock bases.
yeah.
Decent
Yes.
parks. That'll be a good show.
Did anybody guess it?
No. Will you repeat our question, please?
Okay, so the question is, how many color variations of the hydro-coated skulls do we carry? Now this is a little bit of a trick question because the catalog only shows a few of them, and remember, we added to the line. So we've talked about these new skulls, they're on the website, but we've added. So it's the catalog plus a couple.
Are we getting
Lower.
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 Oh,
Oh,
Jennifer Shelton got it.
Jennifer Shelton.
Jennifer Shelton gets the skull hooker.
Cool.
Well, that's all we got for today. We will be live again next Thursday at 4:30 Central Time. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and feel free to give us a call.
Get real creative and send us your pictures of
Yeah.
everything that you come up with. Your customers will love it.